Oh, good morning, everybody. So there's been a change of plans. It never even occurred to me to think, what's the weather like today? Oh, of course, I live in a desert and it's in the middle of a heat wave. Of course, painting is going to be nigh impossible. I'm so glad that I decided to try and paint Ursula's face off camera this morning, because I said I was going to paint it off camera, so I was like, oh, I'll just do it this morning. You know, I've got like a busy day later today, so I'm not going to have time to do it. And it's bad. It's so bad, you guys. So, I don't know if you ever watched Deep Space Nine, but she looks like Odo, but, if Odo had texture on his face. So, I'm not exactly sure what to do with her. Do I strip the entire thing and start again? Do I try to just, isopropyl alcohol her face and just strip the face? Do I... what do I do? And it's so bad, I don't even want to show you all. I have put a gloss varnish all over her face to try and smooth out all the awful texture that I had going on, and it helped a bit, but now I'm afraid to finish putting highlights on her face. Okay, so let's go through the options. One is I keep painting her and I leave the face where it is with no more highlights. That's option one. Option two is I keep painting her and I try to put highlights over top of the texture, potentially making more texture. And option three is that I strip the face and try to repaint the face while trying not to strip the rest of the work that I've already put into her, which maybe with Q-tips I might be able to do that. And then the fourth one is just to stop. Just stop working on her, put her aside, tap out, call uncle, and say, it's just not going to happen. And I think that's, the worst option out of all of them, because I hate leaving models unfinished. It's a tough call. How is everybody doing? I see nobody in chat. Let's have a look here. Okay, so I don't know what to do. I mean, I could set up a camera and paint for you guys, but I'm so embarrassed to show off where she's at right now. You're here, Jeff. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Should I set up the camera? Should I try to paint? I'm very frustrated. I'm not gonna lie. Very disappointed with Miss Odo here. It's funny because you look from each side and it's not so bad, but the front on angle, you're like, ooh. Another thing that we could do is we could talk about the podcast that's coming out on Wednesday. Maybe set her aside for a while and think about work on a different project. See, this is what I'm afraid of. If I work on a different project, because it's so hot and it's so dry that I feel like I'm just going to ruin another project. It would be better to work on a project that I've already ruined than to work on something else and potentially ruin it. The other only project that I have is a really fun one, and it's not my models. I'm painting this for somebody else, so I really don't want to work on that until it either rains or I can figure out some way to make it like more moist in my house, because like it is so, like, I live in a desert, and I know everybody's like, haha, like, you live in Canada, isn't it always cold there? But like, it's hot. It's gonna be like 37 degrees or something today, and it doesn't rain here. So yeah, I just, until it gets some moisture, how do I put moisture in the air that's not gonna be like a bazillion dollars? Also, I really like where this is going, so I don't want to ruin it by working on this. I've actually like literally put this aside for a week. I did one session on it, and then I was like, okay, it's been too hot. It's so hot, it's like hard to be in this room. Hey Rob, how's it going? Hey Solar, how's it going? Been painting combat patrols? Nice. Um, Solar, where you live, is it really dry? How do you deal with like paint drying on your brush before it even gets to a model? No, 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 no. My painting is okay, but I have ruined this model. Like, ruined her face. She is so textured. The gloss varnish on top is kind of helping, but it's still, like, very bad. It's very bad. Um, Often has similar problems. Do you know how he gets over it? Lack of rainfall. Siberia is technically a desert because it doesn't rain. Yeah, our only precipitation that we get is like 5 minutes here and there, and snow. That's it. Um, but yeah, like I feel like if I paint on stream until I figure this out, like I'm just gonna keep ruining stuff and getting really frustrated. Um, because I'm super frustrated. But I am all ears if anybody has any solutions on how to get more moisture in this room, because yeah, damn, her face is just beat up now. Um, Los Angeles is a desert as well. So how do you keep your paint workable? Cause like I even was like basically glazing her face, like multiple layers of basically water, and it still created texture. I think when he has days like this, he just focuses on assembly. I don't have anything to assemble. Like, I literally have nothing to assemble. Do I have any Gear Gut stuff to assemble? You know, I just, like, everything I have is, like, built and primed because I'm, like, wanting to paint stuff. Hmm. But yeah, I guess let's talk about the podcast then. So, two nights ago? 2 nights ago, I recorded the last segment for the first episode. So, tonight and some of the day tomorrow, I'm going to be editing that all together. And then I've committed. It's going to be a Wednesday. No to terrain. I hate building. I do not have the space for it. No terrain. Yuck. I will like build and paint like pre-bought, like pre-made stuff. I do not find building terrain is fun. Like crafting it out of nothing. No, no. It's like actually assembly is also like not fun for me, but it's like the necessary evil that I have to do. Um, so 2 days of editing, I'm like committing to having this thing out by like midnight on Wednesday. So even Wednesday, I might be editing like late just to get it out on time, but I just really need to get it out. And I've had some games, So I played, my first game of 10th was with Custodies, and it was fine. Yeah, AOS is super fun. It's way more fun than 40k. Just nobody plays Age of Sigmar, which is unfortunate. So I played my first game of 10th edition. I played Custodies versus Alex's Tyranids, and I didn't do too bad. I only lost by like 3 points, which against Alex is like basically a win. And then what was my second game? Oh yeah, my second game, I was the ringer for a local, not even like an RTT, it was just a game day, and that was the day that I actually like hurt my back really bad. So I was like bending over a table and like in pain and all that, and I was playing somebody who was fairly new, so we were just sort of like going through the turns and like figuring out how to play, and so he was playing Custodians and I was playing Orcs. That game was way more fun. Like Orcs are just fun. This index. So it was 1,500 points, and we ended on turn 3 on a tie. And I think that I probably would have won that one if it went to 5 turns. My third game was Custodies, because I was really sure that I was going to be maining Custodies. And it was against one of the guys on my ITC team who was playing Thousand Suns, which was like so many flamers, and like you couldn't basically move anywhere without something dying. So that was like a learning experience for sure. I was going to get tabled at the end of turn 4. So yeah, and then after that game, I was like, I kind of realized what it is about the Custodies index that is not really that fun. And it's just like every unit feels the same. Like there's dreadnoughts, but and I like Custodies dreadnoughts a lot, but like the infantry units just all just feel very same, and it just wasn't that fun for me. Like, even though I did okay in my first game and, like, got hammered on my second game, I was just, like, sitting there going, like, I feel like I don't have the tools that I need to play the missions as effectively as I want to. So, okay. So my fourth game, I went back to Orcs, and I played 2,000 points of just, like, a pure Timmy list. Like, it's just, I picked stuff off the shelf that I thought looked really cool, and then I went and played, and even though the stuff I picked is, like, not the strongest, it was so much more fun, this list. So after that, I was like, okay, if any events are going to let me play my Gear Guts Mech Shop Orcs, I'm just going to play Orcs because there's just so much more fun. I love the look of my Orcs on the table, and I can play my Walkers, and it doesn't necessarily feel like they're that terrible anymore. So, my list is like, I think it's good, but not competitive good. I hear you. I hate terrain building. Most of the terrain on offer commercially for Infinity is made of MDF. I use a lot of that, like, pre-done Infinity terrain because it's nice. Which gives me a nails on a chalkboard feeling to work with. Oh, just to, like, assemble it? Hey, Zan, how's it going? Hey, Sledge Disciple. So, my orc list is just silly, but it kind of works for me. So, it is Gazgul with 5 Meganobs with dual, or I guess they're called twin kill saws now. And then I have a Armored Warboss with 5 Meganobs with twin kill saws. Can you tell what my favorite unit is and always has been? And then I have a big mech with custom force field with 1 unit of shooter boys. The armored war boss has follow me lads, so that's like plus 2-inch movement. And then the big mech has cunning but brutal, so it's gonna allow the storm boys to fall back and shoot, or not storm boys, the boys, shooter boys, to fall back, shoot, and charge. I also have 5 storm boys, 10 commandos, and 3 warbikers. And then I have a beast boss on Squigosaur with head Wappa's kill choppa, so devastating wounds. And I have a Morkanaut with a mech with a kill saw, and I have a Gorkanaut with a mech with a kill saw, and a Morkanaut with a mech with a wrench. So that's the entire list. I made it to be like sort of easy to pilot around the table using some of my favorite units, so I didn't want to do like just all boys. But I still feel like I have elements that will allow me to like get engaged on all fronts and like stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep test playing it. I played it into my husband's Dark Angels last night. And I think I lost by 15 points, but I made a mistake. I made a mistake in turn 1, and I even stopped in turn 1 in my command phase, and I was like, do I call the Wa? No, I don't call the Wa. And like, I really thought maybe I should, but then I decided not to. I second guessed myself, and like looking back on it now, I should have got Gaz in first turn to pop a Land Raider, because a Land Raider had, I think it's a Land Raider Redeemer. It had flamers on it, and it was mid-table, so it was just like overwatching everything, and I should have just eaten the overwatch and just charged it and got rid of that thing right away, because I think it would have been a completely different game. I would have had to like basically sacrifice Gaz to a unit of Blade Guard right away, but I think it would have allowed like literally everything else to just exist. So that was like my mistake, and that's the thing that I learned from that game. And honestly, like being aggressive is like knowing when to be aggressive is something that I've always kind of struggled with. So yeah, those are my takeaways from that game. I end up having to have my partner assemble it for me. She enjoys it. It's like a puzzle to her. Nice. I don't mind assembling like MDF and stuff, but some of it's like really complicated. Like not complicated, but like it looks like it should fit, and you kind of have to like strong arm it in there. Glad I can finally catch a stream. I'm glad to have you here, Zan. You are a treasure. Orcs are made from fun, from what I can tell. See, and like whenever I say like, oh, orcs are fun, people are like, orcs are always the most fun, and it's like, well, last codex they were not that fun, because there was just like very certain builds that were good, whereas now I feel like in the index there's a bunch of different ways that you can play it and be somewhat successful. Obviously they're going to struggle into like the boogeyman units or boogeyman factions that exist right now, but like almost everything struggles into that. What are your thoughts on orc vehicles? So I do not look at units that I don't have, because I'm really trying to learn my list. I've got an event coming up the first weekend in August, which is coming up super quick. So I have my list that I've made from units that I have painted, which was probably the best decision for me. Like I locked in orcs because it was like painted and ready to go, and like now with the weather being so hot and dry, I am so glad that I am not painting to a deadline. Just so glad that I made that decision. So in terms of orc vehicles, I only have walkers. And they're much better than they've been for like 2 editions. So, but as for the other things, I don't know. I haven't looked at them. I don't own them. Could be good, could be trash. I've seen people using some buggies. I don't own any buggies, so I haven't even tried them, haven't played them. No thoughts. Um, Knobs are pretty good. I only have Choppa knobs, so I've not been using those. Um, Trucks and wagons seem viable. If you want to take like boys and small infantry, absolutely. I've heard people putting flash kits in a truck. I've heard of all sorts of things. Like, it seems like there's many ways to play in this index, and people are having success with a lot of different builds. And I think that that is indicative of like a good index. So, and honestly, Solar, like, I can't give any opinions until I've actually played enough games with a unit to know if it's good or not, right? Because sometimes things will be good into one thing and not good into another thing, and like, I don't know your play style, so I can't tell you if it's going to be good for you. Does that make sense? I know a lot of people are really opinionated about things, and I am not. If somebody comes at me and says like, um, Gretchen are like the best thing ever in this index, I'd be like, great. I'm not gonna argue with you about it. I don't want to play 200 Gretchen because my back will scream at me. But if other people are having that kind of success, like, I don't doubt it. Um, I wasn't looking at the screen and heard you read "Orcs are made of fun" immediately. I thought, oh, Solar must be here. Nice. I'm putting paint on minis for the first time in 6 months, I think. Good for you, Rob. Congrats. I wish I could be there with you, but I'm a sad panda. Buggies went from 3x3 of each at the start of Ninth Codex to 1x3 of each to 1 of each in 10th, from what I've seen. I don't have any buggies, so I didn't even look at it. When I'm ready and able to like actually paint stuff again, I'll probably look at the rest of it. I guess it's like a good way to like talk about my learning process. So I really struggle with learning new rules. I really struggle, and I'm not going to put any time into learning rules for units that I don't have. Um, So when I get a new index, or codex or whatever, I literally just look at the units that I own, and then I will make a list based off that, because that's just how I am. And then if something is missing from that list, so say I need like more anti-infantry or something like that, then I will start to look through things to look for that solution, and then I might add that to the list and learn that. But I am just not blessed to be one of those people who can like look at a codex, read it, know that it's good, know that it's not good, and then like make a list, and then I'll buy everything for that list and then paint it, and like it just does not work for me. So yeah, my learning process is a lot different from everybody else's, and I'm also just like not the kind of person that's gonna roll up and be like, this is like the best way to play. Like, I don't have that knowledge. I don't think anybody has that knowledge, honestly. Like, you could be the best player in the world, and if you don't know a person's play style, you can't tell them what to play. In my opinion. Hey, Jude, how's it going? Hope you're enjoying your summer. I'm a Timmy Johnny hybrid and not competitive in the least. I'm a Timmy. Well, okay, so Johnny is competitive though. Just so that you know, Johnny is competitive, but like wants to win in their own way. So if you're a Johnny, and you're probably a little bit competitive. If you're a Timmy, you are extremely competitive. So I think that I think I'm equal parts Timmy and Johnny. But Johnny definitely wants to get good. My back is why I'm not interested in horde armies either, right? Like, I don't know, like pushing a mountain of boys across a board, or like, yeah, I don't know. As soon as I put those like big chonky like walkers on the table and it's like 650 points or something of like models, I'm like, yes, excellent. Um, yes, we're talking about orcs right now. We're kind of talking about like learning the game because like everybody is back at square one. We're talking about learning the game. We're talking about orcs and list building and all that. In that way of learning, we are similar. In that it's hard to learn, or in what way? I talked about a lot of stuff there. A company has 3D print files for orc vehicles of the DeLorean and the '89 Batmobile. That's hilarious. If I was to do an orc list, I'd be playing all knobs with no boys because it's completely lore accurate to have a horde made up of only knobs. Yeah, and like playing lore accurate is like a totally valid way to play. I don't know anything about orc lore, so I just take what's fun. I did an orc horde list at a tournament and my back was screaming the next couple days, so I just said never again. Right? Like, near the end of the last guard codex, everybody was saying, like, horde infantry is the best way to go, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That would not be fun. No, thank you. I'm trying to find a job because I finished high school. Dude, that's awesome. I remember my first job. I actually worked for my dad's company when I was, I forget, 14 or 15, like whatever the legal age to work is. So my very first job, I mean, besides babysitting, my very first job was power washing like transit trucks, which was very hard work but very good money. So yeah, that was my first job. Magic. And then like my first job outside of that was a cashier at a grocery store, which it was great. Yeah. I didn't care about winning. Oh, I don't care about winning. I like playing with cool toys, and I'm happy if my ideas aren't against the rules. Um, I like winning. Like for me, winning is like it gives me like I don't know if this is because I'm like a bit neurospicy, but like it gives me a goal, right? And I've actually tried to play narrative games before, and the entire time I'm at the table, I'm like, what is the point? Like, what is my decision making flow chart? Because with like playing to win, um, all of your decisions are for optimal play, as optimal as you can, right? So it's like it gives me like a map of where I'm going. Whereas with narrative games, the entire time at the table I'm like, okay, like I'm looking at like my possible flow chart and it's like gigantic, and then I get like decision paralysis because I don't know where my goal is. Like, what are we trying to do? Um, so yeah, nobody's really been able to explain that to me. People who are like narrative gamers and like that's what they do. Um, so I don't think that that's a way that I would like to play personally. Drop some more mech boys to face tank, dreadnought, claws. I don't understand. Drop some more mech boys to face tank, dreadnought, claws. Are you talking about my mech boy that like survived against that Leviathan dreadnought for 2 turns? Because because I have 2 mech boys in my list. And also, I did order, well, my boss ordered a mega armored big mech so that that mech can get like an upgrade, because obviously he'd have no face left, and he'd need to be rebuilt. So I've got a model in the mail for him. Similar in learning what's practical to our lives versus reading rules like fiction. Yeah, if I start deep reading like all of the things in the codex, I get overwhelmed. Whereas if I make a list, I know I have to learn that list. And then once I learn that list, because you really can't know if a list is like good or not until you play it a few times into different things. So like once I play it and I get comfortable with that list, then it's time to think about making changes and adding things, taking things out. And then I can read through the rest of the stuff. Power Wash Simulator? Is that a thing? And good evening, Trader Guardsman. I hope that you're well. I'm kind of a Spike Timmy, because I want to win with my toys. Oh, but with my toys. Drop some nice, cool-looking minis and have them do really well. Yeah. I mean, Timmy's will just play the best stuff, right? And like Timmy's will read the meta and will bring a list to like counter the meta. Whereas I think that if you want to win in your own way and like with your own list archetypes and all of that, I think that that's a very Johnny thing. Whereas I feel like Timmy really doesn't care to win in general. Like Timmy is really just taking things because they look cool, or just taking things because in the lore they make sense. So that's I think what Timmy is. And Timmy also likes like big, scary looking things, right? So like Timmy loves knights. Timmy is the guy who brings like the Titan to the tournament. That's Timmy. I have this obsession to play out battles inspired by real battles in history with a 40k spin to it. That's interesting. I would have no idea how to play that. I wish my ADHD would let me build one list and play until I master it. I can't bring the same list to a game or tournament twice. Yeah, and see, I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like if I brought a different list every time, I would just be constantly not knowing what I was doing and constantly taking way too long at the table. My my games would all be like 5 hours long because I would never learn anything because my brain don't work like that. Are you dropping the Power Wash Simulator in the Discord? Oh my goodness. Is this going to be something that I waste a ton of time on? Probably. Orkingrad! Hey Mark, how's it going? Timmy loves knights and playing with the Batmobile. Totally. So like I think I'm a little bit Timmy because I always want to play like dreadnoughts and walkers. They're like my favorite, and tanks, right? That's like the Timmy side of me. And then the Johnny side of me wants to figure out the best rules and tactics to make those things work. And I think I'm a little bit Timmy in that once I get comfortable with a list, then I'll start like looking into the meta and like tweaking the list to face the meta. But that's like very small side of me. So Yeah, and it's interesting because we talk a little bit about this in the podcast that's coming out on Wednesday, which I'm very excited about. I hope that people enjoy it because um, Alex is one of my favorite people, and I think sometimes, especially in like competitive kind of circles, people never talk about the kind of work that it takes to even just go and be competent at a tournament. I'm sure for some people it just comes like really naturally, um, but I think for a lot of people it doesn't. And I'm really excited to sort of like share this journey of getting better with everybody and just sort of open up a dialogue about how difficult it is to actually play Warhammer. Um, because a lot of people will just like roll into your comment section, be like, "Well, it's not hard for me," and be totally dismissive. And I don't. I want to offer something different. Um, your Telemon is gorgeous. Thanks, Solar. Telemon is not very good in this index. It's so funny because everything that was good in the last book is like not good. So like Telemon's not good. Bike's not good. It's really quite interesting. It's quite interesting to me how things, and there's not even that many like, oh yeah, like Sagittarium, not that great. Venatari, really not that great. Galatis Dreadnought, not that great. Like all of the things that I loved playing Custodes last time, are not that great. So, um, it's just so funny how that works, like from edition to edition. Like everything that I really liked to play in Guard, um, is not that great. So, and people are like, oh, why aren't you playing Guard? And it's like, because I need to fix all of my infantry squads, because they're not legal anymore. So that's a lot of work. And then I need to add different loadouts for Lehman Russes that then I currently own. I need to finish painting my Rogel Dorn. I need to rebase all of my existing heavy weapon squads. I need to rebase my existing sentinels, and it's just like it's such a huge hobby project just to get this army functioning. And then with Custodes, I basically have to paint at least half of my infantry because the loadouts are much different this time around. That like what's good is a lot different this time around than last time. So it's like everything is just a huge hobby nightmare for me. The only thing that is okay right now for me is orcs, because the things that I played were garbage last time around, and I just played them because I liked them, and now they just happen to be good. So, yeah. It's just so funny how all this, like, cycle works. I don't know how people can just, like, make a 2,000 point army and then paint it and be like, I'm good, I'm done. Like, things change so fast and change a lot that I just don't know how that's even like possible. Um, I guess so. Jeff says, I guess I'm a frustrated Johnny who really wishes he were a Timmy. Like, I'm competitive and I want to win in my own off-meta way, but I really wish I didn't care so much and could just play for fun. I can sort of appreciate that. Like, I can very much relate to that. I think that everything would be a lot easier if I was a Timmy. Um, but I think if I was purely one of them, I would be a Johnny. Um, because I am competitive and I want to win, but I also very much need my army to look and play a certain way. I've tried before to play like net lists, and they just don't work for me, and I think it's because I play the game so differently. I'd be really interested to know if there's like a difference between how women look at the game and how men look at the game, because I feel like I am a very reactive and defensive player, which is really funny to play orcs, because like literally every other orc player that I know is like um aggressive for one, and wants to push the action, like doesn't want to be the one reacting. They want to be the active player. Um, so a lot of like the other lists that I've found that people who play my faction make don't work for me in that regard. So I'm very really interested in that. Do women play the game differently than men? I don't think that there's any way that you could like really like quantify that besides like just asking people like, do you think that you are aggressive and active, or do you think that you are reactive and defensive? I'm looking forward to listening to your podcast. I'm really looking forward to like actively start editing it tonight. So I'm gonna have to like learn some new skills when I get. Well, actually, after this, I gotta go for a walk because that's like written in stone. Gotta go for a walk, eat something, and then I have to play. I don't have to. I'm choosing to play Age of Sigmar. So I'm really excited. I haven't played with the new General's Handbook, and I'm gonna play Night Haunt because I played ogres a lot, and I think that because I always play like the same people, so I think it's time to like give them something different, something that's like a little easier to deal with, I think. So clearly there is a Tanya that's a Timmy, that Johnny's you with their Timmy models. I think so. Mark, I think that that's accurate. Um, Solar says 40k so crunchy. I've chipped 3 teeth just learning combat patrols. Yes, 40k is crunchy. It's less crunchy than it was before, but it's still extremely crunchy. And people were so worried that it was going to be like as simple as Age of Sigmar. No, I knew it wasn't going to be that simple. I knew it was always going to be more complicated. And certain factions are way more complicated than others. Like, playing against Thousand Sons, half the time I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, what is even going on with all these wombo combos? I was playing against somebody that I trust, who is a very good sportsman, so I know that I wasn't getting played, but at the end of the day, I was just like, that was a lot, my brain hurts, I don't even know how you pilot those. Rob says, the painting I'm doing today right now is to finally finish the Death Guard combat patrol. Yeah, you didn't have too much left on that, did you, Rob? Then I just need to give the whole combat patrol bases some love. Yeah. So Jeff says, wait, is Timmy the casual just for fun one, or is that Spike? Timmy is the casual, I just want to play like my big, stompy, cool models, rule of cool, only I don't care about winning. That's Timmy. And Timmys are amazing. I know that like some people kind of give them a hard time, but I really, I think because I kind of like sit in between like competitive players and narrative players, I'm like somewhere in between, like kind of casual leaning a bit more competitive. I think that it allows me to be able to play the Timmies and have a ton of fun, and also to play the Spikes and also have a ton of fun. And I love that I can sort of merge the two. I hope to bring them together a little bit to like, because I actually think that most players are narrative in some way. So like for me, in my last game with the mech that like survived 2 rounds of punching to the face by that Leviathan dreadnought, to me that is narrative. We created that narrative based off of me spiking 5-up invulns, right? So and I think everybody, no matter how you play, like you see those narratives when they happen. So I feel like there's more, we have more in common than we have differences. Um, Timmy equals big ol' tanks, dinosaurs, yay. Correct. Johnny equals loving the "you've activated my trap" card. Also correct. And Spike meta chasers. Also correct. No, Rob, I think that you are correct. De Gitman, that's the proper orky way. None of this namby-pamby mucking about. Get stuck in with the boys. See, and like, I am a reactive and defensive player, so no, I will get stuck in when it suits me. It's usually not turn one, but in my last game it should have been. It should have been. Rob says, Johnny equals really enjoying combos and synergy. Correct. Even if it's not the meta, they like showing off the "look at this crazy thing I can do." Correct. I think Johnny wants to win in Johnny's own way. So Johnny really likes sort of like skew, kind of like wombo combo. I also feel like Johnny really wants to like prove that you can play your own way. Jeff says, I wish I had that ability. When I played 40k, I wanted to play casual games with my, I think this list is fun and fluffy, and my opponents often had a different definition of casual than I. Yes. So that's why saying things like when you're looking for games and you're like having that pregame talk, even before you've even built your lists, I think it's important, and we all kind of like can fail at this. I feel like most of us fail at this. I even fail at this. I think saying things like, I want a casual game, or I want a narrative game, or I want a fun game, or a fluffy game, I feel like in terms of the pregame talk, that's not good enough. I feel like we need to define what that means to us. So if I was playing a new person, I would say something like, look, the list that I'm going to bring is definitely off meta. It's a lot of stuff that I really enjoy, and there's a few combos in there that you should be aware of. However, I'm going to play hard. Like, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to play hard. However, there are people that I play a lot that I understand through playing them that they are more casual than I am. So when I play those people that I know, I will do dumb stuff, right? Or like I'll suggest that we just play kill points or whatever, because I want to make sure that they're also having fun. So like basically every World Eaters player that I've ever had, and half the Space Wolf players that I have ever come into contact with, that I play on a regular basis, we just play kill points, because a lot of them, it's like more about the social aspect of the game, and it's more about just getting to the table, rolling dice, getting stuck in, and seeing what survives, essentially. And I absolutely can facilitate that. But if I'm playing somebody new, I am really trying to work on like defining what it is to me that makes a good game. And I would hope that when having these conversations, I would hope that my opponent feels like they can convey what they need as well. Except at a tournament. A tournament, you gotta expect that, like, everybody's playing hard. There's officially a Tanya. Is there? Johnny, but I know something you don't know. I am not left-handed. Oh, I love the Princess Bride. I don't have my Princess Bride mug, but it's my favorite mug ever. So the casual in my pregame coffee talk includes words like instructional, not cutthroat, things like that. What does not cutthroat mean? I see for me being neurospicy, I would probably stop and be like, okay, well, what does that mean? Oh, Mark, if I ever played you, like, I'm sure that you would, like, totally own me. Because, aren't you, like, was that last year or the year before you were, like, the best World Eaters player? Was that last year? I am losing track of time. Time has no meaning to me anymore since I work at home. Um, no, we would play hard. Mhm, mhm. Um, so, oh yeah, one of my games, I'm missing a game. So one of my games of 10th edition, I played at um, Play on Tabletop, and I didn't get to choose my faction. They just like handed me this Dark Angels army, and I was like, oh, don't know anything about this. Didn't look into it. Gonna make a ton of mistakes. Like, we don't care. You're playing against Mini Wargamer Dave. I was like, okay, banter it is. Um, but I do feel like Dark Angels are very good. Like, the Lion's really good. Is he one of the best Primarchs? Probably. Um, oh man, so narrative when you're like playing to win. So my husband and I play pretty hard. He is a much better player than I am with much more experience. So, but he also knows that I don't want him to take it easy on me. Like, I want him to play to win. So we were. Oh, Dave is a Timmy. There is no Johnny, there is no Spike in Mini Wargamer Dave. He is like pure Timmy, and it's wonderful. So anyway, so we're playing my orcs versus his Dark Angels, and I was just so excited that I actually ended up killing the lion. I had to send like a lot of stuff into it, but um, he killed he killed 9 out of 10 commandos, and that was with like my excellent saves. Like, I just like rolled really hot on saves, but he still killed 9 out of 10 commandos. And then I like charged in with like 5 mega knobs and a mega armored war boss, and just due to like flukes of the dice, the mega armored war boss like killed the lion, and I was just like, how is this even happening? And so that felt really good. Like, anytime that I can remove the lion from the table seems like a win to me. Um, and yeah, I think sometimes when you're losing, like, in order to not get tilted, you gotta like give yourself. Because I was losing. You gotta give yourself like new objectives to work towards to keep your mind off the fact that you've lost, right? Um, so sometimes that objective is like, and now that we have the cards, it's like, okay, I'm gonna really focus on getting like this one secondary, or I'm going to try my best to I don't know, just like maintain one objective or something, or kill a big killy unit to get like the moral win, the moral victory. The mini to lion sleeps tonight, totally. He took a dirt nap for sure. If Daves are a war gamer category, what is a Dave? I, to me, he doesn't need his own category because he's the epitome of what a Timmy is. Like, one game that him and I played, he was like, it was like a mastodon, I think, with like 8 Terminators inside versus like a Stompa and some boys or something like that. It's in the vault, so um, I can't even watch back to see, but it was like stupid. And like, but he's like, I just want to bring my mastodon, please. And I was like, okay, cool. Um, God, I almost won that one too. It was like a weird like mission that we like pulled cards for. It was so fun. Um, it had like an end game win condition, which just led to like this mad dash to a back corner. It was just silly, and I actually really enjoy random missions like that too. But yeah, I don't know what Dave's category would be because he already has one. Um, and yeah, I actually think that Timmy's are extremely fun to play. Um, I don't think I've ever had a bad game with a Timmy. I don't think I've ever had a Timmy get tilted. No, I have had one Timmy get tilted. Um, and like it's funny because like the tilt was just because it wasn't because there was like it wasn't winning. It was just because it couldn't kill anything. So that's funny. Oh, look who it is! Hello. Oh, did you just get sprayed by the hose outside, buddy? Oh my goodness, you're all wet. Please don't touch me. Get dog hair all over me. Nice boy. So my dog, it's really hot. He's half husky. So whenever he goes for a walk, we usually just like take him out back and spray him down with the garden hose. And we call it play bite the water. So that's like the only way to really get him to like cool down. Poor boy. He's so hairy. He's always got a fur coat on. My poor boy. Mark, you want to be a Timmy? Why is that? Enlighten me. I would like to know. I think that I think I'm pretty happy with where I am being a Johnny. I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because I was under the impression that like in order to really like get good at games and so sort of be like top of your faction, I thought that it like you'd have to be a Spike. I thought that, and I was very much enlightened in the podcast. So I am really excited to get that edited out for you guys. I think it's a really fun one, and I feel like it has like a different vibe from other Warhammer 40k podcasts out there. So I hope you all enjoy it. Keep your eyes out on Wednesday. Could you try a humidifier for your painting room to counteract the dryness? I could. I'm a little bit worried about getting a humidifier because when I worked at the pawn shop, a lot of them would get like mold and a lot of them would leak. So I'm a little bit, I'm allergic to mold is another thing. So, I'm a little bit hesitant to get like a full-on humidifier. However, I was thinking like maybe I could get a essential oil diffuser. The ones that use oil or water, you put the oil in the water and then it uses like basically ultrasound to make a mist come out. I thought maybe I could try something like that. And that's a much cheaper way. And then like if that leaks, it's like it's not a big investment. I can get a new one. So I was thinking maybe about doing that. Again, that's like $40 instead of like, I'm sure it's over $200 for a humidifier. I'm sure of it. Solar says, Timmy lesson 1, try to remember when you were 6 years old and laugh. I was a very like serious 6-year-old, so I've always been a very like very serious person. Mark says, I'm totally a Timmy. See also 3 Vindicators in a World Eaters list until they took them away. That is so stupid. Like, I hope that you guys are getting, like, a second round of new releases because y'all need some help. Like, World Eaters need more. Just more. You need more. The Gitman. Seems like yesterday Lucas was a little pup and now he's a mighty wolf. Yeah, he's a big boy. He's 70 pounds now. He was really sick 2 days ago. He got stung by something, like a bee or something, when we were out at the park. And then he we came home, he was limping. I had to like pull the stinger out. I put a like paste of baking soda and water all over his foot, which took the sting out. But then he just like was green the rest of the day, like threw up all over my house and like just not feeling good. Um, he's just such a sensitive little guy. He's sensitive to stress. He's sensitive to changes. He's sensitive to wheat. He's just like, he's got a sensitive tummy, that guy. Um, but Lucas wants to be a Timmy, also wants ice cream. Lucas does not want ice cream. He does not handle dairy. Um, Lucas wants a steak. That's what Lucas wants. He is a meat hound. Um, Oil diffuser should work if the door is closed. Well, I was thinking it would be like right on my desk. That's what I was thinking. Because they come really small, so I can put it on my desk, and I don't think that would be an issue. So Zan says, I feel like I'm mainly a Johnny. It's not winning in my own way necessarily, so much as sometimes even just making my own win conditions. I feel like a Timmy could make their own win conditions. But yeah, it's an interesting take. Maybe that's like its own, like maybe that's just being a Zan. But yeah, I always find this like really interesting, like these sort of like metrics and sort of placing yourself. I find in the end it doesn't matter really what you are, but knowing your play style, it can really help you get more enjoyment out of the game. Because I used to think I was a Timmy, and now I really do think that I'm a Johnny. So, but yeah. Um, the Gitman says World Eaters need their own unique Terminators. Yes. Thousand Sons and Death Guard have their own. Now the World Eaters need some proper Red Butcher Terminators. I really, really feel like that's gonna come out. Like I really feel like there's gonna be more options. Like I feel like World Eaters also need they need bikers, right? Like just killy bikers. I also feel like, okay, so hear me out. So Death Guard are like real, like struggling hard right now, right? And they're slow. I feel like they should ignore all modifiers to negative modifiers to their movement, right? Because they're like slow and steady wins the race. And then they wouldn't have to deal with like barb gaunts, basically like keeping them wherever they are. Um, that's my take. It's not a fix for them, but it kind of makes sense in the lore, makes sense with what they're trying to do, and would give them some form of way to like keep moving across the board. Um, yeah, I feel like also they should not be able to be suppressed. You know, like anything that would like stop somebody, I feel like it shouldn't stop them. I feel like they should just slowly get to wherever they want to go. So Rob says, I think I'm between a Spike and a Timmy. I want to win, but I also want to be able to just drop the cool models on the table and be like, wahaha, face my squigs. Hence why I'm going Gits in AOS. Gits are so much fun. And I am actually very happy that they are good, finally, after not being good. Zan says, it's not just about the blood and skulls, it's about sharing blood and skulls with your friends. Well, I'd agree with that buff for Death Guard. You know, I feel like GW really tries to make things thematic, but sometimes they kind of miss the whole thematic decision, you know? Shambling Horde and all. Yeah. You know? I feel like they would just keep moving. They would just keep moving. Nothing's gonna stop them. And if you're gonna make them that slow, like, come on. Throw them a bone. Okay. It is 12:07. So I need to head out. I need to walk the dog if he hasn't already been walked already. I need to eat something, and I need to get ready to play my Age of Sigmar game. Which, again, like this list is like not good for Night Haunt, but I can't leave Kurdos Valentian at home. I can't. I love him. I can't leave Lady O at home either. I love her. So I'm really excited to try this out, this list. It's been a year, I think, since I've played any Night Haunt. Has it been a year? No, probably less than a year, but pretty close. So I'm going to catch back up on the chat, and then I'm going to love you and leave you. I think World Eaters should get some jump pack models. Yes. And talking to my local scene, it feels like going into 10th, they kind of ignored anything Nurgle related. Yep. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me today. I'm not too sure what we're gonna do next week for a stream, because it could be a heat wave right through till October now. So yes, make sure that you go over to Solar's channel, give a follow, and make sure that you watch his live streams because they're excellent. I oftentimes don't get to because I'm working. However, I think they're at 3 Pacific. So if you're Eastern time, most people will be off work. So definitely check that out. And then, yeah, I will kind of play it by ear about what we're going to do next week. I mean, maybe I'll stream a game or something. So if you have any thoughts about what you would like to see next week, if I can't paint, drop them in the comments, go into the Patreon Discord. Let me know if you have thoughts, if there's something that you want to see happen. So, until next time, everybody, be excellent to one another. Make sure that you're having your pre-game talks, you're communicating to your opponent, you are playing the game the way that you need to in order for both parties to have fun at the table. And until next time, be nice and roll dice. Bye, everybody.